Woonsocket.
Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
Good morning. It is Coffee Ann here on ON AM and FM. It's Thursday morning, October the 9th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan, and we run around the Coffee Ann table. We'll say good morning to Bob Lauder. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
And nice to have you here. You okay on the? I know the Yankees are out of the series. They're out of the playoffs. You okay with that? They lost last night. Season's over.
See the eyes?
I can see the crocodile tears now.
Oh,
deer in the headlights?
Deer in the headlights.
Yankees are done. So, All right. Sue Tessie McKenzie's here. Hi, Sue.
Good morning, everybody.
And John Ward has joined us as well.
Good morning, everybody. Yes, I did stay up
and watch
the Yankees
lose. Wow, good for you there, Bob.
Well, I do that only if I change the channel in the middle of the game and I see that they're losing.
So you stay with it?
Then I'm hooked.
Okay.
Because I have to stay with it to see if they actually lose.
All right. Who are they going to? Who's trying to play next? Has that been decided?
I don't know.
It's either Seattle or
was it Detroit?
I'm not sure. It could be.
I thought Detroit.
I'm not sure yet.
I thought Detroit was struggling. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, we'll figure.
I saw a piece about being a game 5. So
yeah. Okay.
Maybe that's what that is.
Maybe it hasn't been decided yet. All right. A bit of housekeeping. We want to just mention one more another time to come join us at Autumn Fest this weekend and come find the ON radio truck in our booth because we will be selling Autumn Fest buttons, Autumn Fest calendars. We're doing the split the pot. But the cool thing we have is we've got 2 MVP passes to Six Flags New England. Now, what does that mean? If you win these passes, you can visit Six Flags New England through the rest of October. They stay up. They got a Halloween thing going on out there through the end of this month. But it also gives you unlimited access to Six Flags New England throughout 2026. Go as many times as you want.
What a great gift.
It also gives you, in case you're going to go on vacation. John, is there a Six Flags in Virginia?
I don't think so. It's in New Jersey.
Okay. If you go, there is one in New Jersey.
Dominion in New Jersey.
That's the competition, I think. But there's Six Flags all over the United States. There's one in Texas and Six Flags Great Escape. That's another one. But it gives you access to every Six Flags throughout the United States in case you be traveling next summer. Wow. It also gives you free parking. And if you've ever been to Six Flags in New England, parking is expensive up there. It's like $30. So that goes away. And you get access to their water park up there as well. So it's a pretty cool prize. We want you to stop by, sign up for free. We've got 2 of these tickets. We're going to give 2 to one person, and we'll be drawing them on Tuesday of next week. But you got to stop by Autumn Fest to sign up for free.
Sounds great.
I think it's a very cool prize.
Extremely impressive prize.
All right. Let's... There was another issue at Woonsocket schools yesterday, and this involves the elementary school. And I read Dr. McGee's letter that he sent out. It happened at Globe Park Elementary School. Did you not hear about it, Bob? It looks like
not
you
at
not.
all.
I did.
Okay.
I did. I saw the letter.
I saw the letter. It looks like a student brought a BB gun to school.
Oh, great.
With no BBs in it.
That's important. It was not loaded. But you bring it in, someone sees it, looks like a gun. Everything stops. The whole place goes into lockdown. Woonsocket police are called. So they got the kid, and they got the gun. And the only real thing I could think of was he tells his friend, hey, I got this cool BB gun at home. Oh, right, cool. I'd like to see it. Okay, I'll bring it to school tomorrow. So he brings it in, unloaded, and said, here it is. Or he takes it out of the bag or whatever. But someone else sees it. And once someone else sees it, and you can't bring, even though it's a BB gun, you can't bring these things to school.
Hair on fire, scream, and all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, so
that's how it works.
Yep.
But it's policy.
And but that's right, it is policy. But we think back when we were in elementary school. I know people that brought knives every single day.
I was a Cub Scout and a Boy Scout. You did that.
Yeah.
You always had your pocket knife with you.
With you at all times. So.
Now, when I was a kid,
yeah,
BB guns were usually imitation rifles. They're about 2 feet long. So it wasn't something that you could...
These are CO2-powered pistols.
These look like handguns.
No. Yeah. All right. Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, not the thing you see from the movie A Christmas Story,
Right.
Where he's loading up the rifle. No,
That was what was back when I
That's
did
what you're
it,
thinking. Yeah. No, this is something a lot smaller. Because our news got it wrong and said it was a handgun.
And,
So I was
and
like,
most of those
no.
were spring-loaded.
Yeah.
That would fire off a spring that would shoot
Yeah,
it
you
out.
had to
Now
pump- you had
you've
to
got
pump
a-
it.
Right.
Now
Yes,
you've got a
yes.
CO2 canister that sticks in the handle and shoots off a blast of gas that pushes the BB out at a fairly high rate of speed. As a matter of fact, I have a nephew who still has a BB in his head because his brothers and him were playing with one, and it went off and hit him in
Lodged
the head
in.
through some soft tissue and lodged in his head, skull, and his brain, and it's still there because it was not something you go take out if it's not doing any damage.
Wow.
Couldn't it move?
I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
it could.
And then it would do some damage?
I don't know.
Well, if
So-
it's stuck
I
in
guess the
skull.
doctors determined that it was not a risk,
Yeah.
so they stayed where it is. But it's got a good velocity to it.
Sure. Earlier this week, a 16-year-old down in Providence at the Met School, he was caught with a gun at the school as well. So this seems to be on the uptick for a moment.
What's very interesting, and having served 10 years on a school committee, the first thing that crossed my mind, and it's not evident in the letter that was sent out, is what grade?
Oh, I thought, well,
Because that's grade
Really?
K. That's grade K to
6.
6 at Globe Park.
I thought it was 5, but I could be wrong.
Doesn't matter. The difference
Yeah.
between a second grader and a fifth grader
It's
is
huge.
huge.
Yeah.
In terms of their sense of responsibility, in terms of protocols, in terms of following rules and policies. And if you told me this was a second or third grader, I'd say there's a certain level of innocence associated with that. No malicious intent and no recognition of rules. Where a fifth grader, no.
Knows.
Fifth grader should know.
Now, John's going to laugh at this question, but I'm like, what parent would give a second grader a BB gun?
I doubt any parent gave any of those kids a BB gun.
Oh, I'm not so sure about that.
I'm just saying
If he's older.
they may have it in the house and the kid took it without the parents knowing.
But that's another scenario.
And they
Sure.
could have an older sibling.
Oh,
And
true.
it's theirs.
That was
This
my
could be
thought,
theirs.
the older
All right.
sibling.
That's also another
there's
good
a
scenario.
million possible
Yeah. Okay.
explanations.
But
None of
what do you?
which none of which are any of our
Yeah.
business.
Even so,
Yeah.
shouldn't a weapon like that be locked somewhere in the house
You
in a
would
little
think.
safe or something?
Not if they could consider,
Leave it on the coffee table in the living room?
unless they consider it a toy,
That's what I mean. It could be just in a drawer
and
in a
maybe
bedroom.
you just don't lock up the toys. What if it was the rifle BB gun, and it's in someone's bedroom? Okay, well, it's just in the corner.
Yeah, but that was in 1955. I mean,
know, I
nowadays it's a little bit more problematic.
Yeah. So I don't know what the rule. I don't know if there's a rule on that, where you have to keep it locked in your house.
Wait.
Yes,
Yes.
Sue.
Wait, we
Yes,
have the
yes.
answer.
Sue's got a-
BB guns need to be securely stored in Rhode Island.
Ah, okay.
I am so glad Sue is here.
There you go, Bob.
She can bring definitive
You-
answers to everything.
You were right on. You were right on the schnoz on that one. Okay, they do have to be.
On
I
the
won't.
schnoz?
Well, schnoz knows. Never heard that expression.
Was it?
When did Jimmy Durante come into this?
So it just led me on to, because I'm hearing that there's still issues with the bathrooms at Woonsocket High,
I
and
mean, issues. I've missed this one. What's the
they've had
issue?
clogging. They can't use them. There's clogging issues in the pipes, and they're
Oh.
being clogged on purpose.
Oh, all right. Great.
With objects that should not be put down the toilet. Okay.
I was fortunate enough to have a communication with the mayor on this yesterday. and
Okay.
Here's what he told me.
An entire roll of trash bags flushed at one time. Wow, that's gonna stop things up. And did I hear correctly that Paul Bourget says this is a $100,000 problem?
Yes, he did.
All right.
Wow.
Now, this got me thinking.
If you take trash bags, a roll of trash bags,
We're talking those big black ones, right?
big black trash
Yeah.
bags. Two things come to my mind, but one of them is if they start taking them out one at a time and flushing them down one at a time,
Yeah.
it's going to cause an enormous blockage that could go on for 10, 20 feet. And once it's compacted with
Yeah.
water pressure, you are not busting it out without some extreme effort,
Right.
which makes it a $100,000 problem. The second thing is a kid's not going to bring a roll of trash bags to school to stuff down the toilet. So where did the roll of trash bags come from? Do they have janitor or maintenance carts that are out there in the school
Take it off the
throughout
cart?
the day, or a closet that's left unlocked that a kid could see a roll of trash bags and grab it off the cart, start
Possibly.
flushing them down the toilet.
Many put the extra trash, like you'll have a big trash.
Well, you put
the
extra trash
black
bags
things, and
in
the
there.
trash bags are usually either hanging
in-
off the side
at
or stuck in the bottom.
Or in the bottom,
They
yeah.
put
It
'em in
could
the
be
bottom.
any one of those things, but
Yeah.
I just doubt that a student,
Brought that to school.
Brought it
first
to-
off, had a full roll like that at home
Yeah.
to put in their backpack to bring to school. So they
with the
must have
intention of doing this.
acquired it while they were in the building, so some care needs to be taken with access to trash liners.
I spoke with my daughter about this yesterday because it was just a couple of years ago that she was in high school, and they were having issues with vandalism at their in the bathrooms at her high school. And I said, "Tell me what they did again." I go, "This may work, it may not work, but what they decided to do is they took the doors off the bathrooms for the boys and the girls, not the stall doors, but just the doors to
The
walk
entrance,
in."
yeah.
I said, "That's a great idea."
Sort of like the airports do, and
Yeah. So
many public buildings.
Now and now this comes down to money. They also had specific hall monitors walking around, and the other thing they did was, and this comes back to monies too. They had digital hall passes that reported to the office, so the office knew which kid was out of the classroom at any given time with the digital hall pass. That way they could try to track it down in case something happened in the bathroom. Okay.
Wow.
This is all. I'm sure there's nothing in the budget for this, John. And
we're fighting over speed cameras and red light cameras
yeah, you're right.
as an intrusion in our privacy.
Well,
We're going to have hall monitors on our iPads.
yeah. What do you think about removing the doors, Bob?
I would think
As
that
the
that's
lawyer?
really.
Too much?
I'm not sure it would really have much impact at all.
Okay.
When you go to an airport, usually there is no door to the men's room, and I don't know about the ladies' room, but you walk in and there's usually a zigzag
You
pattern
have
that
to
you have
zigzag
to
to
get in.
get there.
Yeah, but
for
not at the
visibility.
school.
That's the problem. There's visibility into the room
Yeah.
All right.
on a door.
I think that would be a little problematic because I don't know where the urinals in the boys' bathrooms would be positioned with regard to visibility from
okay.
the outside. And
But would the students really want to see people being able to see them walking in and out of the stalls inside the bathroom?
I'm not sure. I
That
think
doesn't
that,
sound
you
rational.
know, I wouldn't necessarily remove the doors and think that would have a big impact on vandalism because if you're describing this being flushed down toilets,
Yeah.
toilets are usually within confined stalls, so someone passing by in the hallway isn't going to see the fact that you're in the stall forcing plastic bags down the
I don't think it's just a matter of being able to see them. I think it's also being able to hear. Because if, when you have a closed door or an open door, I mean, there's a difference in volume. Maybe that's the thing. I can recall a restroom in Woonsocket High School, and again, things changed since I've been there. When you walked in, so you opened your door, and what was facing you was the wall of a stall. So you couldn't see anything except that wall of the stall. And once you went in and took a right, there was mirrors there and then sinks, and the stalls were this way. I don't know, like you say, would it make a difference? But I don't think it's just about being able to see, because that's a privacy issue when you're dealing with restrooms. I think it's being able to hear commotions or whatever, especially if things are ongoing in the restroom. I mean, you hear a mirror break, you're there, whereas it can be muted, muffled, whatever, with the door closed. I don't know. That's the only thing I can figure, not just see.
Okay.
So when
Bob?
your daughter was in school,
Yes.
this is a public school system she's
Yes,
in?
it was.
Now, the passes that were distributed to the children, the students rather, did each student have a pass, or was this pass just given out when a student said, I have to leave geometry class and...
That's a great question. I think it was like one per classroom.
Okay.
So one person could go to the bathroom at a time. The other thing it did, she said, was it tracked you. Bob Lotter has the digital hall pass. If they could check to say, well, Bob keeps asking for the hall passes 6 times a day. Bob, what's the problem?
Okay.
Why do you need to leave every single classroom every half hour or every hour?
Right.
And so what are you doing? Are you doing something malicious? That kind of thing. Now you become a suspect, basically. Unless you can prove that there's a medical
reason.
situation why you have to go to the bathroom every 45 minutes. So she said it did work, especially the taking the doors off the bathroom. It did cut down on the vandalism because people just afraid of getting caught. They were like smashing mirrors, ripping the soap canisters off the wall.
Right.
It was that kind of thing, and it cut down on that because teachers could look in, and you could hear if something breaks or something like that. So.
You know, although I'm getting a lot older than you guys are, I'm sort of happy that I was going to school back in the 50s when we didn't have these issues. I don't remember
Right?
anybody. I went to the old high school over on Park Place. I don't remember any
of this?
kids doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we also were disciplined. We got smacks on the butt. We got a belt. We got a ruler up to
You
the
also
back of the hand.
you grew up in an area of patriotism post Second War and Korean War, where the parents were those who survived that and felt very strongly about their need to be respectful of their nation and its properties. That doesn't exist anymore.
None
At
of
least
it
not to
does.
the
Neither
extent
does
it
the
should.
discipline.
I hate saying these words. I'll just signal the fact that I agree with them.
All right, on that note, we will take a first break here on the Coffee and Program. More coming your way, comments and questions. Can we call in?
Could we start a log?
How many times do you agree? Sure.
Well, so far it's been 3 in 2 weeks.
Phone number here, 766-1240.
ON Radio. Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogies with onions and what they call dirty sour cream. Or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported foods. Open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 in the morning till 6 p.m., Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays from 8 to 5 p.m. It's Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse. Follow us on Facebook and learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street, Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
Morning, Zoe. Got donuts.
Jeff Bridges, why are you still living above our garage?
Well, I dig the mattress, and I want to be in a T-Mobile commercial like you. Teach me, Saldana.
Oh, no, I'm not really prepared. I couldn't possibly. At T-Mobile, get the new iPhone 17 Pro on them. It's designed to be the most powerful iPhone yet and has the ultimate pro camera system.
Wow, impressive. Let me try. T-Mobile is the best place to get iPhone 17 Pro because they've got the best network.
Nice, Jeffrey.
You heard them. T-Mobile is the best place to get the new iPhone 17 Pro on us with eligible trade-in in any condition.
So, what are we having for lunch?
Dude, my work here is done.
24 monthly bill credits on experience beyond for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Finance agreement iPhone 17 Pro 256 gigs, $1,099.99 and new line minimum $100 plus a month plan with auto pay plus taxes and fees required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data 1H2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
ON Worldwide.
All right, thanks for joining us on the Coffee and Program. Joe Callahan here with Bob Lotter and Sue Tester-McKenzie, John Warden. Sue, guess what?
I know.
Forgot to warn you.
You know, you could have said something on
I'm warning you right now.
I know that these commercials come. Anyway, again, the voting ended last week for the Best in Business Community Choice Awards. I have been diligently working on this massive list. So again, if you think you may be one of the top 3 and have not heard from me yet, just give me a call. Call my cell phone, 401-487-4136.
All right, Sue, thank you. All right, John, in a nutshell, you know, within 30 to 60 seconds, the city council voted no to have speed cameras and red light cameras.
They voted to reject an award of a contract for speed cameras and red light cameras.
Too expensive?
No, they felt that it was a cash grab and would not achieve the goal of necessarily improving traffic safety sufficiently that could not otherwise be done
Well, I disagree.
in other ways.
I disagree completely.
Wow. I think it does. I think it works well
Well,
in other communities.
I spent about 10 minutes explaining why myself yesterday, and the explanation, and I can probably do it and narrow it down to 30
30 to
seconds.
60.
Okay.
It's very simple. The city has only so many
That's on the
resources
speed limit,
to
30 to
access
60.
in order to pay its budget bills, including traffic calming devices and restructuring. One of those is taxes, and the other one is fines.
Okay.
And if they can achieve fines that would allow them to staff up their police department better, buy equipment, and pay for the equipment doing this monitoring of traffic that may slow down some, if not all, of the traffic, then they either do that
Okay. Yeah.
or they raise taxes to pay for all those things which we generally can't afford in the city. And the third option would then be to end up doing nothing.
So we're going with 3.
So
Okay.
right now we're with 3.
Okay. We had
Bob's about to agree with me here.
Okay.
No, well, I'm not going to go this far. Not this time. I just want a little clarification. How many cameras were they thinking of actually acquiring?
Speed cameras are only allowed in school zones specifically,
All right.
where your speed limit is limited during specified hours at 20 miles per hour. So it can only be within 250 feet of a school property. That's fixed. Can't change that. That's state
All right.
law. Red light cameras, they can put them on any red light in the city, and it would be simply if you go through a red light and it's detected that way, takes a picture of your registration, and then a human has to be hired to evaluate all of these fines and decide whether or not they're valid, and then they're processed for a billing. So as many red lights as there are, they could use, but they don't have to. They can just do it on specific certain lights, like transit, like low G.
Could they move them around
Diamond Hill
Let's
Road.
keep it here for a month. Let's move it over here for
I would
another
think
month.
they could if they
Okay.
choose to.
Okay.
Do they have to
No.
put up any kind of warning signs and saying?
Yes.
Speed cameras require
And use-
warning signs
yes.
according to law that you're entering into a school zone, and there are speed camera monitoring of your speed as you
Drive
go
down
through.
Newport Ave, some
And
school down.
Most,
Yeah, you're right.
most cities, it's generally 7 a.m. to 6 p.m.
All right.
when schools might be in session or have students there.
Will this come back to the city council at another
Well,
point?
they're planning to have work sessions about it.
Okay.
And, but again, my point
It's
was,
not dead
I
yet.
acknowledge it's a cash grab. It is a cash
Well,
grab.
okay.
But you don't have enough choices about how to raise money in a city that would allow you to simply say, we're going to correct a problem, but we don't have any money to do it. Well, here's a way to cash grab to do it. Oh, no, we don't want to do a cash grab. Well, I'm sorry. Then you're going to have to raise taxes if you want to achieve your end, or cut some other service in order to pay for that instead. So make a choice about which, you're at your little, on your charts, you're on the little diamond point where you're at a decision point. And it's either cash grab and do the job, cut spending somewhere else and do the job, or raise taxes and do the job.
But wouldn't you, as residents of the city of Woonsocket, wouldn't you rather see the cash grab come from someone like myself with my Massachusetts plates?
That's speeding through
speeding
an
through-
area.
yeah.
Or the big 18-wheelers that go rolling along Mendon Road and Diamond
So
Hill Road.
have you spoken
Bingo.
with the city
Oh, yeah.
of Pawtucket on that?
Well, Councilman Dubois did an analysis using the city of Pawtucket as an example why
Yeah, I
not
was
to do it.
curious.
Because when their revenue started dropping, they started adding more red light cameras.
Okay.
Of course, they couldn't add more school zone cameras because
Right.
there's only
They
school
already
zones.
have 'em enough.
But they added more red light cameras, and he said that was in order to re-enhance their revenue stream.
Is
I
that
don't
because
know.
people
Maybe
were paying
it was.
attention?
Maybe it was, or maybe
Well-
they found that the red light cameras were actually providing for more safety, and so add more to make it more safe, not necessarily that you're going to permanently get more revenue.
Right.
All
Okay.
it took was one $50 ticket on my part, because now I drive through now and go, yep, dude, be prepared, you're getting a ticket in the mail, to cars that are flying by me. But
when
I
I-
can understand what you're saying, like all regards. I can understand that. When, like you say, you're calling it a cash grab, well, that's because you're breaking the law. So that's
Well, that's the
you
thing.
know, but if you can't support the systems even
And-
with that, and
I mean, I happen when I have to go somewhere that's going to take me through Pawtucket or Providence, Honestly, I use Waze because every time you're
avoid it?
approaching a speed camera, it tells you are approaching
Yep.
a school zone speed camera.
Yes, it
And
does,
if there's a
yeah.
red light camera up ahead, it says red light camera up ahead, and
Does
it
it?
lets you
Okay.
know.
Siri
So-
tells me if there's radar up ahead. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, radar too, police officer. So it does its job in terms of, the software does its job in protecting me. May not protect other people who don't have it, but I don't know. It's not a simple solution, but I just struggle with
But it's
this
a
cash
solution.
grab concept because otherwise, real serious traffic calming solutions are expensive and they have their own opponents and detriments, and so it needs to be thought about carefully.
We had Scott Gibbs on Monday. He's town administrator in North Smithfield. He says not only my town, but every municipality in the city, they're speeding in every single town.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And so, once again, something should be done. And speed cameras would cut down on the speeding in every single town.
Well, but again, it's only in school zones they're allowed.
Well, that's true. That's true. But like Sue said, travel down Newport Avenue in Pawtucket. Yikes.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
my-
Well, there's three that I typically hit because I come in through East Providence. So
Okay.
there's the first
Yeah.
one, I think it's St. Mary's or
Yep.
whatever on the right. Then you take the right. So I got grabbed at the first one that was put in is at the intersection where Hasbro is. That was the first one. Mm-hmm. The second one was the Catholic Church on the East Providence line, actually. And then the third one is, I believe it's St. Teresa's. That's the one that got me because I was in a zone, didn't pay attention because it never had it
And
before.
you go in with the traffic flow sometimes.
Yeah.
And
Yep. It never had a camera
My wife
before.
worked for the craft company that makes cardboard boxes down in East Providence or
Okay.
Pawtucket, one or the other. And she had to travel down Newport Avenue. So we contributed our fair share to the city of Pawtucket. About $250, as I recollect.
Did they send you a Christmas card?
No.
Thank you very much, Wards. Yes,
A
Bob.
thank you card,
Yeah.
right?
If your representatives pass laws that say this is the speed limit that you have in a particular area, you should be acting in accordance with the law. I don't see a terrible detriment to having something that will enforce the law that was actually imposed.
That's what it's there for.
And actually saves you. One of the problems the police department has is they have been understaffed ever since the big budget crisis. They've been understaffed. They're still down in the 80s instead of the 104 that they should have. And so they can't just willy-nilly assign someone to go out and sit there and hold a radar gun. So that won't work, period. And in order to staff up the department, if you can use technology to achieve the same end, why wouldn't you?
You know what Newport did? I don't know if they still do this. It was either Newport or Middletown. They would take a cruiser.
Park it empty.
No, they had a mannequin
Oh, okay.
sit in the driver's seat. had a police cap on it, so
Yeah.
you could see the hat from long ago or from far back.
It works.
It does. People hitting the brakes,
Oh, it works.
and there's nobody in the car.
Without the mannequin, without the mannequin, they did that in Woonsocket on the Truman
Yeah,
Drive.
Did
At
it
the
slow
at the
down?
condos, there's a driveway that comes up at the end of them before the Court
saw
Street
that
Bridge, and they routinely would have a cruiser just parked there.
You know,
Nobody in it, just
Okay,
you know, it
so
happened-
as you're coming around the corner and you see it,
you slow down.
you,
hit
slow,
the
you
brakes.
automatically slow down, and I see that a lot.
Even
but
if
what
you're
happened?
not speeding, you
Yeah.
hit the brakes.
What happened to me the other day was I was on 295. I have to chuckle. I was on 295, and I'm in the middle lane. Guys going slow, so I go into the high-speed lane. And this vehicle's coming up behind me, kind of, getting up my butt.
All right.
So I went faster. And then wanted to get into the right lane. So I'm like, okay, now I can get into the right lane. Just before I was able to get into the right lane, lights go on. So I'm like, shit. So I move over, and he just slow, like door to door, and I'm like, sorry. And he just took off. But I was moving because I was trying to now get out of this
Yeah.
person's way when technically I should not have been going as fast as I was anyway. But so I got lucky.
I have a
All
legal
right.
question for John.
All right.
If the empty police car is there, and if I am caught piling up empty Dunkin' Donut boxes outside the car.
Oh, now it's
Am I going
vandalism,
to
Bob.
That was what I was going to ask. Do I
Yeah.
get arrested for littering?
That's disturbing the peace or something. It's something.
Littering, yeah.
It would
We'll
probably
go
be-
with littering if they're empty boxes.
It would be littering, yes.
Okay.
All right, we're going to take a break here in the Coffee and program. Quick note that came in on a different subject. Boston Bruins, if David Pastrnak scores 20 goals this season, I believe the Bruins will reach the playoffs. Otherwise, there's always next year. And Pastrnak scored 1 goal last night. First game, 1 goal, so there we go. We're right on our way. And goodbye, Yankees. They are done.
I am
for the year.
confident the Bruins will make the playoffs. The question is, will they be in them?
Well, we'll see.
They'll be still around
Hey,
by the time the playoffs
We're
go.
1-0, so good. All right, Sue, time for a second message from the Blackstone Valley Call-in Times, please.
Again, good morning. I am reaching out to everybody today. Our deadline to participate in the winners special section is on Tuesday. I've been emailing flyers that said the 8th, and that was incorrect. So if you're interested in either participating in that or any other sort of advertising, whether it's print or digital, you can give me a call on my cell phone at 401-487-4136.
All right, Sue, thanks. And time for the forecast, being brought to you by Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
The National Weather Service has issued a freeze warning for the Blackstone Valley for tonight and tomorrow morning. Sunny skies today with a high of 57 and a breeze from the north up to 25 miles per hour. Tonight, patchy frost after 1 a.m., otherwise clear. Overnight low of 31 degrees. Friday's weather, sunshine and 61. Saturday, mostly sunny and 66. Sunday, increasing clouds, a more cloud than sunny day with a high of 61 degrees and a breeze from the northeast up to 25 miles per hour. Sunday night, rain is likely, showers mostly cloudy with an overnight low of 50 and a breeze of 25 miles per hour from the northeast. Columbus Day, Monday. Mostly cloudy skies, high of 59, an increased chance of a shower with a northeast wind up to 30 miles per hour. Tuesday, partly sunny, high of 61, 50-50 chance of a shower. Wednesday, partly sunny and 64.
Outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street with blue skies, we have 45 degrees. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
The deals are hot during our Red Hot Sales event, exclusively and only at Imperial Cars. Get discounts of up to 10% off across our entire inventory of hundreds of new and over 1,200 used cars, trucks, and SUVs, with finance rates as low as 0%. Plus, we'll make your first 3 payments or choose a getaway trip to Orlando, Las Vegas, or a cruise. Plus, we have hundreds of vehicles that qualify for the federal tax loan deduction of up to $10,000. Plus, no payments till next year on some of our most popular models. Don't miss the Red Hot deals exclusively and only at Imperial Cars.
I got an email from John Chan about the entertainment this weekend and what's going on at Chan's Fine Oriental Dining. And he says, Dave, tell everybody we have 2 popular tribute bands coming in this weekend. Now, tomorrow night, Friday night, the 10th of October at 8 p.m., it's Confounded Bridge. That's a Led Zeppelin experience. Then Saturday, Through the Doors, You Love 'Em's the local band that pays tribute to Jim Morrison and the music of the Doors. Plus, we have the karaoke party with WRIK Entertainment tonight from 6 to 9 and Friday and Saturdays from 8 to 11 in the lounge. Thank you, signed John Chan. 267 Main Street, Woonsocket. It's Chan's Fine Oriental Dining, and they get great food, too. Stop by Chan.
WOON Woonsocket Radio, ON, AM, and FM.
It is Coffee In here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with John Ward, Sue Tester McKenzie, and Bob Lauder. And guess what, Bob? You're up. Time for a first message from your law office, please.
Thank you. Good morning. This is Attorney Bob Lauder. I'd like to talk to you this morning about medical debts and some relief granted to consumers by the General Assembly of the State of Rhode Island. As many of us may be aware, debts arising from the procurement of medical services represent one of the greatest unplanned financial obligations of many people. A survey published by the National Institute for Health in 2019 found that more than 60% of all personal bankruptcies in the U.S. were tied to medical issues. In June, the General Assembly passed legislation which protects consumers from some of the immediate ramifications of medical debt collections. While medical providers are still permitted to institute litigation against patients when the patients fail to pay their financial obligations, and which litigation includes serving a summons and complaint upon the patient, having the allegations of medical provider brought before a hearing in the court, and having the medical provider secure a judgment against the patient. However, the medical provider can no longer impose that judgment as a lien on the title to the defendant's principal place of residence without a hearing before the court upon the plaintiff's right to such an attachment. And the patient must also be given notice of the date, time, and location of this hearing. Furthermore, in those cases where medical provider has won a judgment against a plaintiff for failure to pay, the medical provider is prohibited from summoning the plaintiff into the court for a supplemental proceeding hearing to inquire into the patient's work-related income and seeking an attachment of the patient's wages. In summary, while the patient still has the lawful responsibility of paying medically related bills, the medical providers and their collection agents can no longer attach the title to a patient's principal place of residence without judicial approval of such an attachment, and they can no longer attempt to garnish the wages earned by the patient. However, please realize that these restrictions have no impact upon a claim which the Rhode Island Department of Human Services may file in probate administration of any individual who at the time of their death or prior thereto was a recipient of federal Medicaid assistance. If you think my office may assist you in legal matters, please call me for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer, the Supreme Court of Rhode Island does licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
All right, Bob, thanks. All right, moving on to another subject. It's just bizarre. We got this former teacher out at Pontiac High School that's under investigation, under state police investigation, according to the superintendent of schools out there in Foster, Gloucester, Renee Palazzo. But yet the state police, they won't confirm or deny that there's an active investigation. So if they don't confirm or deny, doesn't that really mean one's going on?
Pretty much.
Well,
Yeah.
Bob, you're the lawyer.
I would think one could assume that was what they were. There was one going on from that statement, but at the same time, if the police say we're not confirming anything,
We're not denying anything
No,
either.
There may not be any investigation. We're not telling you anything. We're remaining silent on this issue.
Then why would the superintendent say, "Oh yeah, there's an investigation going on by the state police"?
The superintendent may believe that, but the superintendent doesn't operate with the state police and doesn't know what they're actually doing. The superintendent may understand that statements have been provided to the police, but he doesn't know what's going on.
She.
Sorry.
All right. Well, have you followed this at all?
Not at all.
Oh,
I saw it
I
in the,
just-
I saw it in today's paper. and
This is a good one.
Yeah, we won't say what they're calling the school now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, the allegations, let's go with that, Bob, that it's a female phys ed teacher having the inappropriate relations with a former student, but also while the boy was a student. He has since graduated, and it's still going on, but it started back when he was a student at some point at Pontiac High School. So
I wouldn't speculate on anything. I'd wait to see what the results
we're waiting
of
to
the investigation are.
waiting to see if the state police come out and say something. So, however, the teacher is no longer a teacher at Pontiac High.
They will make a statement when they
Who's they?
announce the
Which one?
the state police.
Okay.
Will announce the indictment.
I guess.
When the attorney,
right.
actually, the attorney general announced the indictment. The state police only report to the attorney general on criminal matters so that they can be brought to a grand jury.
Now,
Right.
what if he was a
I
student
believe.
but was over 18?
Well, now he is. Oh, when it started?
When it started.
Okay.
I mean, he could have stayed back.
I know.
I
I don't.
Devil's
think-
advocate
I
here.
don't think that's the
I'm
issue.
curious
but
how that
okay.
works.
So,
No, I know, right. We don't think that's the issue, but
Yeah.
I wonder how that would fall into play.
I wonder.
Because you're still a student, even though you're 18.
Yeah.
I don't know.
well, there's that fine
Where were
line.
the
you know,
relations taking place?
Sounds like a place for a state law to be written.
Right?
Yeah, it's one of those lines that's not supposed to be crossed. 'cause
Right.
you're
Well,
the, you're
no,
the teacher.
exactly,
You
because
It's
should-
you're a
definitely a
student.
policy violation,
yeah. No.
but the state police wouldn't investigate a policy problem.
So they're looking at crime.
They must be looking at crime.
Well, so that would mean that the student is
Although
underage.
I'm still baffled about how the criminal justice system works. Ever since it was reported in 2020 that there was a pile of money stolen where I work, 5 years down the road, the last 6 entries into the judicial system's public record disclosure stuff says that they're holding hearings for contempt of court, and yet the trial has never yet taken place after 5 years. I still don't get that. How can you commit a crime and 5 years down the road still be dealing with jockeying lawyers, judges moving back and forth, and contempt hearings with absolutely no trial date ever set?
Lawyers want a continuance, Bob?
Do I want to continue it?
I mean,
Well, is that what lawyers do to
oh no,
keep
they
spreading
use
it out?
continuances all the time.
You're trying to defend your client from actually getting to the point of a trial, if you
Right.
can.
Okay.
So if you can extend it, yes.
I can almost see a lawyer finally going in there saying, "Well, it's been 5 years. That's not
Statute of
justice.
limitations? Oh.
That's
No.
not justice.
Not a speedy trial.
Not a speedy trial. You
Okay.
should dismiss
So
this."
Dismiss the charge. All right. More on this, the teacher from Pontigansett, as it becomes available from the state
Yeah,
police if they come out with something.
2 to 3 months, you'll probably.
You think so?
get something.
I think it'll be a little sooner than that. Anyway, they've done a feasibility study's been done, and they think it would be a good idea for the University of Rhode Island to establish a medical school. Now, Brown's a medical school, right? Brown University. Okay,
Yep.
so they're thinking, hey, how about down at URI? I'm sure South County Hospital's jumping up and down. This is a great idea.
Who owns that now?
South County Hospital?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, different companies, major,
Yeah.
mega companies that own these things.
They think it would ease the state's growing shortage of primary care physicians.
No, it wouldn't.
No? All right, Bob. John says no. It notes the URI has the infrastructure for clinical partnerships through its existing pharmacy, nursing, and health sciences programs. The State Senate Commission that requested the study will issue its recommendation by early January based on hearings and the study's findings. Why do you say it won't help with the physician shortage?
Higher medical insurance reimbursements to hospitals and doctors would improve primary care physicians. Higher Medicaid reimbursements by the state, because we're not even close to competing with across the border in Massachusetts. I know, I hear it from my brother who's a dentist and who bemoans the fact that he's in Rhode Island getting 1/3 less reimbursement from Delta Dental than dentists in Massachusetts. Same thing applies to primary care physicians with insurances in Rhode Island and Medicaid insurance. And so that's the problem, not having a medical school at URI.
All right.
Money.
So you're thinking that if they
You're
put
looking over at me again to get another agreement, aren't you?
Wow, that's 4. So you're thinking if they put a
You're
medical-
just lucky you don't need Medicaid money to do your practice in law.
Thank you.
If they're thinking of putting in a medical school down there, so you're thinking we stop pushing out these doctors and they'll just get up and leave the state
Yes.
and we'll go somewhere else.
No. Well, no. Then we're going to have
Thanks
to
for the
pay.
degree. Goodbye.
Then we're going to have to pay their tuition so that we could offer them scholarship, in order that they guarantee they stay for 5 years and then they'll leave.
Okay.
I mean, it's a classic political answer to a management problem.
All right. Well, we'll see if it comes true.
Wasting our tax dollars.
Bob, you're you graduated from URI.
I sure did.
You think they should have a medical school down there?
I would think they'd want to look at several things. How much is it going to cost them to actually create a medical school? They're
Well,
going
it's
to
going to raise the tuition, Bob.
Well, it's not all going to be tuition.
I know.
There's going to be money coming from outside, I would imagine. Where's that money coming from? How much is it going to cost? Are we going to have to construct a new building? What kind of professors are we going to have to actually institute the kind of training that they need down here? How much is that going to cost us? How are we going to be able to make up the money to cover those costs? And then take a look and see whether or not it's feasible.
You make a good point. If you can't get primary care physicians, how are you going to staff up the professorships there?
I don't know.
How much are you going to pay them? Can you compete with the Brown University salaries? Can you compete with Massachusetts University salaries? And actually attract candidates who are going to become professors who are going to educate these new medical students. And as Dave would say, and like that.
And like that. So, I don't know is the answer right now.
That's why I call this a political solution to
Okay.
a managerial problem.
Could URI make some kind of an agreement with Brown University and start sharing professors?
Okay, but what's the reason for that? If you have a professor,
Well, someone's got to teach the kids.
All right. Okay. I'm a professor at Brown. I'm only working 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
So I can then go to URI and use up the other 4 hours a day in teaching down there. That
Get some more money.
may actually work for the professor if they have that kind of parameters of time. But if you have a professor who's teaching for a reasonable amount of time at Brown, are they going to even be available to go into a dual professorship somewhere else? I'm not sure.
Sue, any thoughts?
I have many thoughts when we start talking about doctors and we
Mostly
don't even want
schools.
we don't yeah, but that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
Part of the problem is you have a lot of students, which are actually residents, that are trying to take on doctor roles currently at it's Brown University Hospital, but whatever, a lifespan, and you're getting absolutely nowhere.
Okay.
So this, that's been my issue and my problem
All right.
as of late.
On paper, I just think it looks good because if you can't afford to go to Brown University, or go to Harvard. Maybe going to URI medical school will be a cheaper alternative.
That's why politicians think of it, because it looks good.
It looks good. Okay. Well, it worked on me, I guess.
Makes good campaign fodder.
All right. Time to take another break here on the Coffee and Program. So, Bob, time for a second message from your law office, please.
Thank you. Good morning. This is Attorney Bob Lauder. The second case I'd like to discuss with you this morning involves the peripheral way the man's best friend. Although in this case, the best friend was not the best friend of the defendant. The case is known as State v. Ches and was decided last year. In the Ches case, a police officer on patrol in a neighborhood frequented by users of narcotic drugs saw a vehicle approach and park in an unusual manner. The police officer turned his spotlight on the vehicle and recognized the passenger as an individual having several outstanding warrants for his arrest. As he approached the vehicle, the defendant jumped out of the vehicle and began running. The defendant was wearing a hooded sweatshirt, and he had his right hand in his pocket, apparently holding something. As the defendant ran, he withdrew his hand and appeared to throw a firearm off to one side. The officer continued the chase and lost sight of the defendant, and eventually caught up with him when the defendant was apprehended by other police officers. After the arrest of the defendant, the police returned to the area which it was believed that the defendant threw the firearm, and the firearm was located by a canine police dog. At trial, the defendant was found guilty on one count of carrying a pistol without a license. The defendant thereafter filed a motion for a new trial, and when that was denied, filed an appeal in the state Supreme Court. The defendant argued that there was an insufficiency of evidence, and the weight of the evidence was not sufficient to justify the conviction. The defendant contended that the trial justice left the jury with a case in which they could only guess or speculate, because the firearm was never fingerprinted or swabbed for DNA, and there was ambiguity as to whether it was pitch dark, or very black at the time of the foot pursuit, and the body camera footage showed the distances were too far. The Supreme Court denied the appeal of the defendant. The court wrote that when a defendant is seeking to overturn a verdict, the judge hearing the motion for a new trial must examine the evidence in the light most favorable to the prosecution, without assessing the weight of the evidence or the credibility of the evidence, and draw all reasonable inferences consistent with the guilt, mindful that the jury had already done so. A guilty verdict will not be overturned unless viewing an evidence in the light most favorable to the prosecution, and now a reasonable jury could have rendered a verdict. In the Ches case, the dog located the firearm. The officers testified about the chase and the throwing of the weapon, and the verdict of the jury was allowed to stand. If you think my office may assist you with legal matters, please call me for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer: the Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. And the Coffee and Program will continue right here on ON, AM, and FM.
The best variety of music. OM 1240.
Are you looking for solutions to meet your business banking needs? At Milford Federal, the longest standing community bank in the area, they offer customized solutions for commercial lending, cash management, online banking, and payment processing services. Their business banking team is committed to the growth and success of your business with local decision making and a relationship-based approach. Let Milford Federal be your banking partner. Visit them at milfordfederal.com today. Milford Federal Bank, our community, your bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, and MLS number 465956.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, hims.com/joy.
ON Radio.
Thanks for joining us on the Coffee and Program. This is Joe Callahan here with Bob Lauder, Sue Tesser McKenzie, and John Ward. And the good news is there are now 10,000 Dunkin' Donuts locations throughout the United States.
Fantastic.
They opened up their 10,000th store in Darien, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago. So there you go. And the person that owns the one in Darien, Chicago, the Harry Group, Hari, they're the franchisee operator. They own 100.
Wow.
They are making money hand over fist. If you have 100 Dunkin' Donuts franchises.
Oh, God, yeah.
Wow, are you making money?
They better hope the cost of sugar doesn't go up like the cost of coffee.
All right.
Out of business.
Now, Bob, Don, you wanted to ask Bob a legal question.
But I said I wouldn't answer the question until I get the information from
It's not an interpretation of the law
It's
so
not
much.
even something I could look up.
It's
really.
not an interpretation of
Yeah.
the law so much as a sense of what you think. When there was an announcement, first there was a release from somebody unknown of this audit report on the Washington Bridge about what may have led to the failure.
Right.
And at the time, or when they had the first oversight hearing, the administration people came in and said, because of ongoing litigation, we're not at liberty to discuss what may have caused the problem. We can certainly talk about the remedies that we're engaged in right now.
Right.
And so they announced they were going to do a new oversight hearing when this audit came out, and they said, we're going to ask questions about that audit and what caused it. And of course, the administration's response was, we're not at liberty to discuss it because of ongoing litigation. And then the implication came out that maybe the reason you don't want to discuss it is because by discussing with the administration what may have led up to the failure of the bridge or the requirement for it to be torn down, you may impact
jury
the court
pool
case. And I'm thinking the audit is a required disclosure to the defendants, so they know everything about what was looked into and the results of that, implicating the administration as having some portion of the responsibility. So why in God's name now would they still claim that somehow discussion would adversely affect the court case?
I think they're looking at the argument that if you make public the results of the audit, you're going to be influencing the jury pool and providing potential jurors with information which may or may not be accurate and which may influence them and not be brought out in trial. Is that a reasonable determination? I think that's up to probably the Attorney General's office. I would suspect that if you publish the audit and potential juror A reads the audit and says, I think that X, Y, and Z is the result. When they if they're actually called to be a juror in the Superior Court, and through voir dire, which is when the attorneys for each side have an opportunity to question the jurors in advance of the trial to make sure that they're as impartial as possible, that would be discovered, that potential juror would be eliminated, and another juror would be brought in for the same kind of voir dire. It might delay the trial for a few days in order to get your jury of 12 people who are impartial, but I don't see that as really a big hindrance in the actual prosecution of the case. And John is right, because through discovery, the defendants are going to be made aware of all the evidence that the prosecution will bring ahead of time. So it's not going to be a surprise on them. I don't know how much of this, it's the Attorney General's call as to how much of this is realistic or how much of this may just be trying to keep the issue from being brought to the public.
Well, see, and actually since last week, an added wrinkle came in when Ken Block disclosed through a public record request that he received copies of communication between Cardi Construction and the DOT, where Cardi was hired back in 2018, or before that, but they were doing it in 2018, to do major repairs to the eastbound, or the west, whatever, the north face of the bridge, the one that's torn down. And because it was causing such severe traffic backups, and because Governor Raimondo was running for election as governor, they canceled the project. And so Cardi listed out a series of things that they wanted to offer to protect the bridge from further deterioration or increased continuing deterioration, like cleaning out the drains and waterproofing some certain areas that were exposed. And DOT, in return response to them, said, no, don't do that. Which actually, and then he finds out that those emails were not provided to the auditors in evaluating the cause of the bridge failure.
Oh, wow.
So I'm starting to wonder, they might, I'll never be on that jury because I know too much, obviously.
Right.
But I know there are hundreds of thousands of people in this state that don't follow this crap and won't know. So I'm not sure, as you say, how will it really taint the jury pool of any consequential way.
An illustration could be the second Karen Reed trial. After the first Karen Reed trial, there was lots of publicity about whether or not she was guilty. They had the second trial. In order to have the second trial, they brought in the jurors. The jurors had to say that they were impartial. That they had no knowledge of what had happened ahead of time in the first Karen Reed trial, which was publicized widely. And yet, in the second case, they were able to set a jury, and it didn't take an extraordinarily long period of time for them to get 12 impartial jurors on the second trial. So I sort of discount the reasoning as to why it's not being released.
They're about to have this oversight hearing, and I'm very comfortable in my belief that the administration will send their people to do a Sergeant Schultz there.
I know nothing.
What went wrong? I know nothing. Can't talk to you. Upon advice of counsel, blah, blah, blah.
All right. We did get a note called in on a different subject, and it's for Bob. And I'll just preface it, Bob, by saying Bob's not a criminal lawyer. All right. So you may not be up to date on this. It just says, what are the statutory rape laws in Rhode Island?
Off the top of my head, I do not know, but I will write it down, and I will be able to answer that question next week.
Our researcher is on it.
My assistant is doing the work.
She's slamming into ChatGPT. She'll have an answer in a second.
All right.
I'm so glad she's here.
The charges, is that what he's asking?
It just says, what are the statutory rape laws
So you're probably looking for what age constitutes statutory rape.
In Rhode Island.
In Rhode Island.
Like the age of consent.
Which is usually, in many cases,
statutory rape is usually where you're dealing with one of the parties who is a minor.
Right.
And the age, I don't recall right off the top of my head. Yeah. But there's consent between the 17-year-old and the 19-year-old, but it could still be statutory rape.
Okay. Any luck, Sue?
In Rhode Island, what is commonly known as statutory rape is prosecuted as third-degree sexual assault involving sexual activity between an adult and a minor aged 14 or older but younger than 16, so 14 or 15.
Okay.
It doesn't even make sense the way it's worded.
Yeah.
Well,
Whatever. Penalties can
it-
include up to 5 years in prison and mandatory sex offender registration, depending on the specifics of the case.
It makes sense in the sense that if it's 14 or under, it's likely some other charge that's
Right,
somewhere else in the law.
Yeah, it says it
That's
right here.
probably more severe.
Specifics of the offense. The activity is between an adult and a minor aged 14 or 15.
Okay. So
13's a different case.
Yeah, yeah.
Then it's not
because
statutory
it's not
rape.
statutory rape.
It's
No.
a
exactly.
13 or
No,
younger.
no.
Okay. All right.
And 17 is
Almost
probably
an adult.
considered an adult.
Yeah.
Just a rape.
Okay. Well, that'll do it for the show for today. We thank you very much for listening in. We could go on and on, listening to Bob agree with John, which would be great.
No.
I don't know. We're enjoying it, Bob. So, but Bob Lauder, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you for inviting me. Hope to be with you next week.
All right. And Sue Tester McKenzie, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Have a great rest of the week and have a good long holiday weekend.
Very good. And John Ward, thanks
Don't
for being
worry,
here.
Bob. Trump can't run again. Everybody, have a great day. Enjoy Autumn Fest, everybody.
All right.
Get out there and eat all the food.
All right. This is Joe Callahan. Stay tuned for Gary Smith and the crew coming your way after the 9 o'clock news here on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. The Israeli cabinet is set to vote today on President Trump's plan to end the war in Gaza. Trump said Wednesday that Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of the plan. NBC's Alice Barr reports that almost 2 years to the day of the Hamas attacks on Israel sparking the war in Gaza, there's real hope for peace.
Celebrations across Israel and the Gaza Strip as word spread of a deal to free the remaining hostages from Hamas captivity in Gaza, pause the fighting and see Israel withdraw its troops to what President Trump called an agreed-upon line.
The president is reportedly considering a trip to Egypt this weekend to participate in the next stage of the negotiations that are currently underway there. White House officials are confirming that an angry post President Trump fired off to Attorney General Pam Bondi last month was meant to be private. The post on Truth Social complained that nothing is being done about prosecuting Trump's opponents. On Wednesday, the Wall Street Journal reported that Trump posted the message by mistake. The United Nations is short on cash and will begin cutting its peacekeeping operations. Rory O'Neill reports.
A senior UN official confirms it will be cutting a quarter of its peacekeeping force in the months ahead. According to a report by Reuters, uncertainty about UN funding from the U.S. is the top concern. The official said the cuts would amount to over 13,000 UN troops and police being downsized. The U.S. is the largest contributor to the UN peacekeeping force and accounts for over 26% of its funding.
Renewable energy provides more of the world's electricity than coal for the first time. That's according to a new report from think tank Ember, which found renewable energy accounts for just over 34% of global consumption. Coal fell to just over 33%.